Hello everyone, welcome back and thank you for watching. Today I will be making some large candy cane themed Christmas home decor. So I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and if you do, please give this a thumbs up. And now let's craft. For my first project, I picked up 3 of these large wood ornaments at the Dollar Tree. I'm going to paint all of these using some white chalk paint. Alright, so for this next step, there's different ways that you can do this. You can honestly just use the Dollar Tree vinyl and cut out some of these shapes, like make the shapes and cut them out and just apply them to the ornament. Or what I did is I drew the lines using another ornament as a stencil, and then I went ahead and painted one red, one red, one white, one red, one white. Well, I didn't have to paint the white because it was already white. I did smaller lines to one ornament, and to the other one I made them bigger, and to the third one I left it white. So what I ended up doing is using a Dollar Tree vinyl. I did cut it like the shape of it and used it like a painter's tape, but honestly you don't even have to draw the lines. You just do this and paint it. So it's gonna be like a stencil, almost like a stencil. So now I'm going to use this scrapbooking paper. That I got from Hobby Lobby and use it as the little ornament topper. And this is how they look. So now you can either just leave it like that or go an extra step further and decorate this some more like I did. Now for this I did use my Cricut and I cut out the word Merry Christmas, but honestly you can use a Dollar Tree sticker letters or use stencils to add any words to the middle ornament. I had some of these berry picks which I tied together. So before I add this to the ornament, I am going to stack my ornaments together. So this is going to be like the present that I recently made, which they're like stackable, but this time I made ornaments. So for this one, instead of gluing the top ornament like on top of the white one, I did it underneath. So like that, I'm able to add the little berry pick with this bow that I will be making using this Dollar Tree ribbon. The last thing I did is I added a little hanger on the back. Now you can add a stand at the bottom and use this as a stand, but I decided to use this hanging. But that is it. Look how beautiful this turned out. For my next project, I will be reusing this Dollar Tree sign, which this is a Halloween decor little sign. Is one of them rectangle ones. So I did remove the image and then painted the back white. As you can see, I didn't paint the size perfect because I was planning on adding this scrapbooking paper that looks like a candy cane. Now I got this from Hobby Lobby. I am going to cut 2 little rectangles or squares, I don't know, they look more like rectangles, and then just glue them on the sides. And now you have this blank canvas in the center that you can add whatever you like to this. I did use my Cricut to cut out Candy Cane Lane and this little candy canes Now, Dollar Tree does carry poster sticker letters that you can use, or you can use stencils for this. I then felt like it needed some more, so I decided to make these little peppermint candy using these Dollar Tree lemon DIY cutouts. I also painted 3 of the Dollar Tree wood snowflakes red and added them to the sign. Now to finish this off, I made this bow using this Walmart ribbon, which I added in the center of the candy canes. Using the same ribbon, I will be making the hanger, but that is it. Look how beautiful and cute this candy cane lane sign turned out. My next project is one of my favorite projects I have ever made. I used 2 of these Dollar Tree wood arrows. I didn't use these dowels or this piece of wood that I'm showing you here, but I'm just showing you because these are options that you can use. Now I ended up using the like square wood dowels. These are also from Dollar Tree, and I used this Dollar Tree wood shelf. So the first thing I will be doing is gluing these together using wood glue. Then I'm going to set that to the side and let it dry. So while this is drying, I'm going to work on the other pieces that are going to go here. Alright, so I'm going to start with the wall shelf. Now you can leave it like that, but I decided to make this a different shape. So I do end up cutting the corners. Plus, this is also going to cut off the little holes that it has on the corners. I did use my jigsaw for that. Now, honestly, you can use this arrow as is, but I decided to just cut off the little ends and make it straight. So now that everything's cut and this is dry, I'm going to paint everything white except the smaller arrow that is going to be painted red. Once everything's dry, I'm going to start adding the words to my little signs. Now once again, I did use my Cricut, but Dollar Tree carries poster sticker letters, or you can use stencils to put your words. I will be adding North Pole to this sign. Then I'm going to add Elf Village to this, and to the other one I added Santa's Workshop. One thing I forgot that I wanted to do was wrap the pole with some red ribbon. Now, because I forgot to do that, I do end up gluing the first sign down. Then I remember, so the glue wasn't dry, so I do end up removing it quickly. I then wrap the pole with this ribbon. Now this is the only red ribbon that I had, that's why it's like really thin. I do wish though I had a thicker ribbon to add it around. Once I was finished wrapping this, I started adding the signs. After adding the last piece, I remember that I wanted to add this wood circle that I got from Dollar Tree, which I painted red at the top. Now honestly, I could have just added, but I decided to remove the sign so I can add the little red circle first and then add the sign on top of it. Now I did do it this way because I wanted to cover that little hole that the circle had. Plus this made the circle more sturdy. So I apologize for not mentioning at the beginning that you were going to also need the wood circle and this Dollar Tree bamboo cutting board. Now you can substitute these for other things that Dollar Tree has in case you don't find these. I am going to paint the cutting board with some red paint. To finish this off, I will be adding the post to the stand. I did use hot glue, but if you want to use this outdoor, I do recommend you using E6000 or wood glue so it can last longer. And that is it. Look how beautiful this post stand turned out. Be using some of these Dollar Tree plates. Now they have these 3 different sizes. You can actually use all 3 sizes, but I'm only using the 2 smaller ones. I'm going to start by painting them white, and I did use acrylic paint, and I did have to give these 3 coats of this paint. I had run out of my chalk paint. I am going to turn these into some peppermint candy. So once these were dried, I used a small paintbrush and red paint, and I started to make the dot where I want the stripes to go. I did 4, and then out of them 4 I did 8, so like I did half of that. Hopefully it made sense, but this is how I got them the most even. I then went ahead and freehand draw the stripes. Now you can't use like a pencil or a pen to do this. I just decided to freehand these. And this is how it looks. I will be making 2 of these. And for my third one, I will be making like a swirly one. Now this time, instead of freehanding this, I just use a pencil to kind of draw where I want the lines to go. Now I know it looks sloppy here, but I do go back and end up fixing this. For the other 2 plates, I will be using this size right here, which I painted white first. I did one of them like a swirly one, and then the other one I did it like the peppermint one. And this is how they all turned out. The next step is doing the little sticks for these lollipops. Now I am using these wooden dowels. I am painting 3 of them white, and 2 of them are going to be this size, and for the third one I am going to attach another piece of the dowel to make it a little bit larger. This decor piece, I do plan on putting it inside my house. That's why I'm only using hot glue. But if you want to use this like outdoors, like in your porch, I do recommend you using a different glue like E6000 or super glue. For this piece that I'm going to make larger, I thought by just adding like a small piece of hot glue and adding it to the stick, it was going to stay on, but it did end up coming off. It was not very sturdy, so what I ended up doing is gluing it side by side and adding some tape instead. Now I made these bows using these Dollar Tree ribbons, which I'm going to add to each of the little lollipops. Alright, moving on. Now for these larger ones, I did end up using some thicker dowels. And for one of them, I attached another piece of dowel to make it longer. Honestly, once you add like the tape in the bow, you can't even tell where you added the dowel. As I was doing this, I remember the Dollar Tree does carry some large score sticks that you could have used for this project. I didn't have any with me, that's why I didn't use them, and I just used what I had. But if I had remembered this when I went to Dollar Tree, I would have grabbed some. The bows I use for these lollipops, I did use different ribbon, which they are from Hobby Lobby. And this is how my lollipops turned out. Now I'm going to leave them like that. I'm not adding that plastic wrap around them. Now for the planter, I'm reusing this one that I got from Dollar Tree a while back. As you can see, I did make like some little handles, so that's why it has holes, but I am going to cover it using some ribbon. The next thing I will be doing is adding some floral foam, and I'm only adding it in the center. Now I had these long pieces that I had gotten from Hobby Lobby a while back. They were on clearance, but Dollar Tree does carry floral foam that you can use instead. To fill in the rest, I will be adding some of this paper. So now I'm going to start adding these popsicle sticks. I will be adding the smaller ones like in the front and the bigger ones towards the back. I will be adding some garland. Now Dollar Tree does carry garland that you can use. I'm using the one that I already had. And honestly, you can just leave it like this, or you can add more like I did. I had these like snowy glittery picks that I had gotten last year after Christmas, so they were on sale. I put some around it, and I think this completed this beautiful planter. My next project is going to be very easy and quick. Now from Dollar Tree, I'm using 2 of these candy canes. I'm going to start by removing the bows. Then I'm going to flip one of them around because I wanted to make sure where I'm going to cut through. Now I am going to cut off like the little curve at the top. I did use this wire cutter to cut this. I did cut it right here, but I do end up cutting it a little bit lower because I cut it where it was already curving, and when I added this to the other candy cane, it wasn't letting me because it had the little curving part, this part right here that I'm about to remove. So all I'm doing to this candy cane is attaching this piece to the other one to make it longer. Now I'm using some zip ties to attach these together. And this is how it looks. Now you have a larger candy cane, which honestly you can leave it like that and add a bow. But I decided to decorate it a little bit different. I removed the snowflakes. Then I added these small little ornaments that I got from Dollar General. The little container that I got had red and green ornaments, and it was just $1. So I added the red ornaments where the white part was at, and on the red part I added some green ornaments. The reason I did green ornament was because of this ribbon that I got from the Dollar Tree. I made a double bow using this ribbon. I am going to add it right here where that ornament fell off. I ended up just removing the ornament and adding the bow there. But that is it. This completes this candy cane transformation. Look how cute and beautiful this turned out. So I will be using 2 packs and a half of these. So using 5 of these little wood shelves. I am going to save the string because you'll see for what later on. I will be gluing these side by side. Now I'm gluing them more like the longer way, so this is a wider side. Now if you glue them the other way around, it's going to be longer but shorter. I'm also using only hot glue for this, just for video purposes only, but I do recommend you using a combination of hot glue and wood glue. And this is how it looks. Now there is different ways you can cover these holes. You can add some wood filler, you can add like 2 long dowels across, or what I'm doing is adding these beads. I got them from Amazon. To paint this, I'm using this apple barrel acrylic paint in the color Tuscan red. It's such a beautiful dark red. For this next step, you can use different Dollar Tree stuff. Like for instance, you can use these poster sticker letters, which I'm just showing you here how it looks. If you were to add poster sticker letters, they are small, but they will still work here perfectly. I just didn't have all the letters. That's why I used my Cricut to cut out this stencil that says Happy Holidays. I ran out of my chalk paint, that's why I will be using this apple barrel acrylic paint in the color white. Since this is acrylic paint, it is a lot sheer, so I did have to give this 3 coats of paint. I let this dry for a couple of minutes before I remove the stencil, and this is how it turned out. Now the last thing I did is I added some sawtooth hooks on the back, and this completes this beautiful Happy Holiday sign. For my next project, I'm using the longer shelf. I'm going to start by removing the plastic and the little hook and hanger, which I'm going to save this because I will be using it for this project. This sign, I painted it using the same Tuscan red, and this is how it looks once it's dry. The other thing I will be using is these nails that I already had. Honestly, I don't remember where I got them from, but I'm pretty sure Walmart carries small nails that you can use. And I'm using the string that came with this shell. Using this painter stick, which I'm going to use as a ruler, I'm going to draw a tree, starting off with the trunk. Then I will be making like a triangle. The triangle is 9 inches long. So as you can see, this paint stick does have like a ruler on the back. And what I did is every 6 centimeter, I made a little dot. That is where I'm going to add the dot on the triangle on one side. And then on the other side, I'm going to do the same thing. But that dot, I'm going to do it more like in the middle of the other dots. Hopefully I made sense. To be exact, I made 31 holes. So I'm going to start by adding the nails. But first, I do want to show you how long these nails are. They're like this long. To add the nails, I'm going to make this easier by just making a little hole first, and I use this Cricut tool to do that. I added this frame just so like that I don't accidentally hit the nail hard and it damages my table. So now I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of the nails. So what I ended up doing is painting the nails so you won't see all that silver. The next thing I will be doing is adding some hot glue to the tip of the string just so it doesn't like continue the threading. The next thing I will be doing is just gluing the tip of the string on the top nail. Then I'm going to start going around the nails in a zigzag. Once I was all the way at the bottom, I continued to do the trunk using this same color. That is because I didn't have a different one. So honestly, you can leave it like this, but I decided to add the other string. This time I started at the bottom going towards the top, and I did skip 2 nails every time. Once I got all the way at the top, I still had a lot of string left over, so what I decided to do is I started to go back down. So I do have a stack of these strings because I have used these wood shelves throughout the years and I always save these strings. So I decided to grab one, make a bow and glue it at the top. But I made it big enough to where when I glue it, I cover the little holes that this sign has. But that is sick. Look how cute this tree turned out. For my next project, I will be using 3 of these Dollar Tree wall arts. Now I'm showing you here the Dollar Tree carries different ones that you can use. The ones I'm using are some really old ones that I already had. I'm going to start by removing the plastic and all the staples. These hooks that I removed from these canvases, I actually used them in my first project. For this project, I will be using the frame parts. Now, to one of the frames, I did take it apart and I cut off all the sizes. The next thing I did is I started to glue these little pieces on each corner. I am going to make a box or a square, whatever you want to call this. And this is how it looks. So now I'm going to set this to the side and show you what I started using, because I do end up switching it up. Started using this cotton twine that Dollar Tree carries. Now the only reason I didn't keep using it was because I didn't have enough and I didn't have any more. But for this project you do need 2 of these. I started off by gluing the end, then I started to wrap this around. I did add hot glue just here and there. And this is how it looks once I wrapped it all around. Now I was going to start wrapping the other side, which I actually end up doing using whatever I had left over of the twine. But when I was finished and I went to go look for the other roll that I had, I couldn't find it. So I'm not sure if I thought I had to or I just couldn't find the other one. So what I ended up doing is removing the twine that I had, and I use this other one here, which is from the wood shelves like I did mention earlier. I do collect these, so every time I use the wood shelves, I don't throw away the string, I save them. I'm going to start all over. I'm going to show you again how I did it. I started off by gluing the beginning of this twine. I wrapped it around it, and then when I was going on the other side where I already have string, instead of wrapping over it, I started to weave through it like this. And I did this until I went all around the box. So these were pieces of strings that I had. So I decided on one side to tie them, like as you see on one side they're all tied, but that is going to be the bottom. So every time I needed to start a new one, I make sure I tied it where the bottom is going to be. And this is how it looks. Now, if you haven't guessed it by now, I am going to make a present or a gift box. So now for the ribbon, I'm using this one right here, which is from Dollar General. It was only $2. I wrapped the ribbon in different sections because I didn't want to add some of the ribbon at the bottom. I felt like it was going to be like a waste since you're not going to be able to see it. So I started off with one side. Now before I continue and I did this other side, I used a piece of jute twine and tied the center of this. Now I'm going to repeat the same thing with the other side. Before I add the bow, I'm going to add this little ornament that I also got from the Dollar Tree, which I felt like it was perfect because it looks like a tag. Now I did have to use some more jute twine so this can be hanging. But once I was done doing that, I used the same ribbon to make the bow. And for the bow, I didn't add tails, I just did like the top part. To decorate this a little more, I added some of this greenery picks, and that completes this beautiful present. Now I decided to leave mine just like that, but you can totally add some lights inside. Project, I will be using 3 of these packs, not the ones with the design. 5 come in each pack, and the ones that are the solid red, 7 come in a pack. Dollar Tree carries these wood squares, which I'm reusing mine when I painted white. I am also using a wood plank from the Dollar Tree that I cut in half and I painted white. Now the first thing I'm going to do is just glue the piece of wood on top of the square. Before I start gluing the ornaments, I'm going to remove the little gold hook, and I decided to cut off this other part. I did use my wire cutters, and I thought I was gonna break like the entire ornament, but I was able to just remove that little part. Alright, so for my first row, I will be gluing 5 ornaments. 3 of those ornaments are going to be the swirls, and the other 2 are going to be red. For my next row, I will be gluing 4 ornaments. 2 of them are going to be stripe and the other 2 red. And that is how I'm going to glue them. I'm going to do swirls, stripes, and then until I get to the top. And this is how it looks. Now, I was going to leave it like that, but then I had some of these pine picks left over, which I decided to add 1 on each side with a bow in the center, and this completes this beautiful ornament tree. For my next project, I will be using these LED emergency candles, and I was going to use this other bigger one, but this was a yellow, like the light was yellow and they didn't go together, so I only ended up using the 2 smaller ones. So for this project, I'm using different shape of candles. These aren't from the Dollar Tree, these are actually from Walmart. And I will be using these as little candle holders. The first thing I did is I removed the little hooks, and then I glued the little stands on top of the ornament. Now I am going to show you the whole process that I did so you can see how it looks with the hooks like this. Once I was done adding the hooks on those little holes, I use them like planters, and I added some greenery. And this is how it looks. Now you can leave them like that, but I decided to remove the little stands and then cut off the little circle part. But it's totally up to you, whatever you want to do, if you want to leave them or cut them off. But that is it. Look how beautiful these candle holders turned out. For my next project, I will be using this wood circle that I painted using the Waverly Antique Wax. And I'm using these white ornaments that I already had with some of these Dollar Tree swirl ornaments. So I'm going to start by placing the ornaments down first before I start gluing them. I do want to make sure that they are going to fit before I even start gluing them. The first attempt to do this, as you can see, they didn't fit, so I do end up moving them like more outside, and that is how they fitted. Now in order to make sure that I glue them in the right spot so all of them can fit, what I did is I traced a circle in the center, so like that I know where exactly I need to glue them. Next step, I use a garland that I already had, and I just weaved it around the ornaments. Now Dollar Tree does carry garland that you can use instead. The last thing I did was added a Dollar Tree LED candle, and that is it. Look how beautiful this centerpiece turned out. And that is it for today. I really hope you guys have enjoyed today's video. Let me know down in the comment section which one was your favorite, because I would love to know. So thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye.